We would go from the set back to this sort of shared green room. But we all had a little sort of... Well, they gave us a bed eventually, didn't they?
Eventually we got given a little mattress.
A little mattress. So we were all together all the time.
I think Sarah is a really exciting and incredible director. I think her choices are really interesting, so I was already interested before I even read the script. And then I read the article, which is based on the actual factual rapes that happened, and then I read the script or the novel, I can't remember which order I read them in. And I just thought that the script was so faithful to the book, and also like nothing else I'd ever read. It was so unique, and all the characters are so clearly drawn that I would have done anything to do it, really. I was very surprised, but very grateful that I was actually in it.
I feel the same. I'd never read anything like it, and yeah, really wanted to work with Sarah. Mm-hmm. And then we did a reading, didn't we, on Zoom?
Yeah, which was a sort of catastrophe, I think. Like in various
we
stages.
nearly lost the parts then.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it was a miracle that we made it through.
Please come out and be counted now. Please come out of your homes to be counted for the 2010 census.
Where I come from, where your mother comes from, we didn't talk about our bodies. We were given 2 days to forgive the attackers before they returned. We hardly knew how to read or to write, but that day, we learned how to vote.
Do nothing. Stay and fight.
Leave.
Overall, I think the vibe was very positive. I think the main theme of the whole thing was just, it was very joyful.
Very.
It was very collective and like it were community. And then there would be up and down days because of the material that we were shooting and because of also the endurance it took to film in a barn in a studio. I've never done anything really green screeny or like that before. So it was, the endurance of the material and also just, being in a studio and keeping it alive and fresh.
I mean, I think for you women, it was so hard in terms of like having to repeat long stretches of text again and again and again to get their coverage, don't you think?
Yeah, but it was hard. You had to sit there and listen to it all.
Yeah, but that's easy by comparison.
And stay awake. I don't know whether it is.
I don't know how you all did that, actually.
I think it's because we were so committed to each other. I was like, I've got to be there for everyone else. Like, you can't just... It was very apparent. It couldn't... Not that it ever is, I suppose, a job where you take it easy and phone it in, but that you couldn't have a break. You always had to be engaged and always on because someone was doing something different every time. Someone in that room was always doing something.
It's true.
And the focus was always different all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun as well.
It was. We did have a laugh.
We did have a laugh. I think it's completely necessary. Otherwise, the film would feel very heavy. I think Sarah kind of understood that. One of my favourite bits of the whole film is an amazing moment, and because I know you and Jessie, it's even funnier and more brilliant, is when you're still taking the minutes and she laughs and she says, he's still taking the minute. There's something so genuine about that. Yeah. And you're really watching someone laugh affectionately, even though we always know. But I think there was so much love in that room anyway. That's something we all shared, I think. And that's because Sarah does, I think.
And Sarah is hilarious, actually.
Yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? Because sometimes people have a sense of humor, like no sense of humour. Like, we're very lucky that people did. It would be a very different environment if we didn't.
We forfeit our place in heaven. Surely there must be something worth living for in this life, not only the next.
We know that we've not imagined these attacks. We know that we are bruised and infected and pregnant, and some of us are dead.
We cannot forgive because we are forced to.
Salome is described as being basically a rule breaker. She's like constantly doing things to annoy people, and she's constantly saying the thing that no one wants to hear. So there's lots of reasons why she should be excommunicated from the colony, and everyone was always sort of mystified why she wasn't. And so I took that to mean that she wasn't, because she gives a lot. She's a very active participant in the community, and that means she's got a really big heart. And I think that the Salome pre and post the traumatic experiences that her and her daughter and her family members have experienced, I think would be a really interesting thing to see. But I think that's not who she is anymore. Her character lends itself to wanting to fight the injustice of what has happened, and that being like energy and fuel for her to keep going.
Who are you?
Who are any of you to pretend I have had a choice?
We know that we must protect our children.
I will become a murderer if I stay.
We are not all murderers.
Not yet.
Sheila had to do, who plays Greta in the movie, she had to do the scene where she wakes up and her teeth are falling out as a result of the attacks. And they finished it and everyone was like, that was amazing, da da da. And then she said, oh, I should have made my bed. Greta would have made her bed. Then moved on. We finished the film. And then on the last day of shooting, we'd all gone home, like literally on aeroplanes on the last day of shooting. And Sarah said to Sheila, do you want to make your bed? And they'd rebuilt the entire house for her to do the scene again with the bed made. I can't think of a single director who would have done that. And that's just the extent of which she was open to everybody's suggestions.
She wanted to hear what we had to say, what we thought, all the time, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Men have taught the lesson of power to the boys, and they have been excellent students.
But they are children, and they can be taught.
Have we made a decision?
Our choice will be your future.
It was like being in the front row of an amazing play, watching amazing actors who I have admired for a long, long time, and watching them close up and watching them working, so like finding things and repeating things, and I don't know, it was so interesting on a level of like the craft of watching people working their craft, and then also just on a human level it was amazing. We would go from the set back to this sort of shared green room. Well, actually it was a grey room.
Yeah,
but
it was so grey. Everything
it was the greyest room you've ever seen. But we all had a little sort of, well, they gave us a bed eventually, didn't they?
Eventually
Each.
we got given a little mattress.
A little mattress. So we were all together all the time. There
All
were
the
dogs,
time.
there were babies.
We
family
slept
members.
together in that room. Like it was basically like
You were doing your house up.
I was constantly going, what does everyone think of this? I know.
There was also the fart machine.
And there was the fart machine days of the fart machine,
Yeah.
You're lucky if you have like one of those moments in something that you're doing, and every day would just bring up a surprise. Like there would be a real surprise every day.